Good afternoon, everybody. This is a Roman Crepper, and thank you for joining me once again for a situation report. This situation report should be posted on Monday, October 6th, if I'm adding days correctly. Yes, it would be Monday, October 6th. So again, just to give you a timestamp if you're seeing this way off in the future. So for those of you who are new, or for those of you who have not seen a situation report before, what we do here is it's a bunch of OSINT information that comes to me via my company and some other groups I'm affiliated with. It's nothing super secret. It's simply a very convenient compilation of information that I receive, partly due to a job I used to do. And I'm still on that list. I still get this. And I'm just summarizing it for all of you so you can be aware of the happenings in the world that you may not see on mainstream media. If you haven't seen this before, it goes by regions of the world alphabetically, not necessarily by continent, but by region, and then by nation, also alphabetically within each continent. So with no further ado, I'm going to start with Africa. Côte d'Ivoire, the Ivory Coast. Côte d'Ivoire. I don't know how to say that in French. Anyway, Ivory Coast bans rallies as opposition leaders barred from October election. From the Africa News, the Ivorian, that's a mouthful. The Ivorian government has imposed a ban on public meetings and demonstrations aimed at contesting the exclusion of key opposition figures from the upcoming presidential election on October 25th. That's one of those things you look for when a country is unstable, is not that they badmouth the opposition, but they literally try to throw them in jail, indict them. We've seen it here in the States. That's always a bad sign. That's not something I remember seeing more than 10 years ago. It's become a new thing and it's not good, but yeah, apparently that's what they're doing there. Madagascar President Rajoelina to make live address on Facebook, according to Reuters News. Madagascar's President Andry Rajoelina is expected to make a live address and post on his page as protests continue to unfold in the country. That's it for Africa, surprisingly. I was expecting some more news from the Congo, which has been a hot mess. East Asia and Pacific, moving on to there. Japan, cyberattack hits major Japanese beverage producer, affecting its operations, according to the AP News. A major Japanese beverage producer says it had been hit by a cyberattack that left its operations disrupted for the fifth day on Friday, and Japanese media reporting that stocks of the company's popular beer and other beverages are running low. So this was a pretty bad incident here. And again, I've said this before, these kind of things, I said it on last week's situation report, cyber attacks, energy infrastructure situations, transportation derailments, airports going down, these are all signs or precursor events before an escalation. This is the foe, whatever foe may be, poking at your fence line to see what they can affect. And that's from AP News. Also from AP News, the Philippines. Typhoon blows into Philippines, complicating disaster response after the earthquake. So they got a double whammy. A typhoon blew into the northern Philippines on Friday, complicating the country's disaster response to a deadly earthquake in the central province and two other recent storms. So stuff like that, a lot of people vacation, they go to Japan, Thailand, the Philippines. It's important to be aware of this kind of stuff happening. If you go through a travel agent or you reserve on your own, you may also want to buy travel insurance or trip insurance. There is an insurance you can pay that if something catastrophic happens, you can cancel and you're off the hook and you get your money back, or you get most of it back. Just something to think about. Now, Europe. Eiffel Tower closes amid strike held across France against austerity. This is according to ABC News. Protesters took to the street of more than 200 towns and cities across France on Thursday to denounce spending cuts and demand higher taxes on the rich. Because higher taxes fix everything, apparently. Germany. 3 alleged Hamas members arrested in Germany on suspicion of plotting attacks against Jewish institutions. Also, ABC News. 3 alleged members of the Palestinian militant group Hamas were arrested Wednesday on suspicion of plotting attacks on Israeli or Jewish institutions in Germany. I've been seeing a lot of videos. Sorry about the sinuses, folks. I've been seeing a lot of videos, especially on Instagram. I'm seeing some on TikTok, of immigrants harassing locals, abuse, rape, and it's disproportionate. When the president said, hey, did you know that in Germany, over 50% of the inmates in Germany are asylum seekers? That tells you something. That tells you a lot, because they physically represent less than 6% of the population, at least as of for now. I believe that was the numbers. It wasn't proportional. It wasn't like, oh, they're 30% of the populace and they represent 30% of crime. So very interesting. Considering also that Germany is one culture, right? You get born there, you're all German. It's not like the U.S. where you have all these people with different cultures and religions all mixed together. So Europe is gonna have to make some decisions if they want to keep their cultures or if they want to keep control of society in general. Again, 9/11 was executed with about 15 guys in the air and 15 more on the ground. So 30 people killed 3,000 using airplanes. Imagine what 500 could do, 1,000 could do. So something to think about. Not to be paranoid, but understand it could really get ugly very quickly if the bad guys they say are here are here. Moving on from there. South and Central Asia, Afghanistan. Turkestan Islamic Party threatens security of states in South and Central Asia. From The Diplomat. After fighting alongside the HTS, which toppled the Bashar al-Assad regime in Syria, some TIP militants have relocated to Afghanistan's Panjshir Valley. Important. That means the enemies of the new government have gone and regrouped with another group, so they're reinforcing each other. Afghanistan is going to be a problem. We walked away from there very stupidly and very haphazardly, and that was an air base, Bagram in particular, that was close and within striking distance of Chinese missile manufacturing and missile launch sites. And we just let it go and gave it to the Taliban, who are now having a hot mess of their own. I fear in the next 3 to 5 years, we may have to go back there because all our enemies are going there now because we're gone. So again, there was a philosophy of fighting forward. Sorry, my nose again, guys. So you don't have to fight at home. Anyway, moving on. Pakistan. As unrest in Pakistani Kashmir turns deadly, the Prime Minister urges calm. This is from the New York Times. Days of protest in the regional capital set off by a convergence of rival marches are fueled by familiar complaints like high prices and demands for electoral reform. Western Hemisphere. Argentina. Magnitude 5.8 earthquake strikes Santiago del Estero province in Argentina. This is according to Reuters. A magnitude 5.8 earthquake struck the Santiago del Estero province in Argentina on Thursday, the German Research Center for Geoscience says. Brazil. Jair Bolsonaro is running out of options. This is The Economist. Jair Bolsonaro is having a terrible few weeks. On September 29th, Tarcísio de Freitas, the right-wing governor of Sao Paulo, announced he would not run in next year's presidential race and would instead seek a second term as governor. Brazil's been having issues for a while now. Costa Rica 2026 elections kick off. 20 candidates vie for presidency, according to the Tico Times. Tico Times, that sounds like a newspaper from Sesame Street. Anyway, moving on. Haiti, UN rights chief says Haiti's use of drones likely unlawful. Hundreds killed this year. Oh, that's new, according to Reuters. A UN human rights chief said on Thursday that Haiti's use of lethal force against gangs was disproportionate and likely unlawful, saying its actions, including drone strikes, accounted for more than half of this year's killings and injuries. The use of drones against civilians, against insurgents, against people in their own country, or as a tool of terrorists against a population scares the crap out of me. If you haven't seen Angel Has Fallen, that's one of the Gerard Butler movies. This Olympus Has Fallen, London Has Fallen, and the third one is Angel Has Fallen. One of the attacks is a drone swarm attack. And it's a little cartoonish in the movie, but it scares the hell out of me because it could very easily be done. You could do it out of a tractor trailer, which is how the Ukrainians blew up a bunch of Russian strategic bombers. They snuck in disguised as an agricultural truck. Then the top opened, they took all the wood or whatever agricultural crap they had, opened inner doors, and out popped, 50 drones with explosive charges. You don't need to completely obliterate an airplane. You just need to blow a wing off or blow the cockpit apart, and the plane is done. And that's exactly what they did. That scares me. This is a beginning, and I'm not trying to be like clairvoyant or anything. This is the beginning of a very ugly phase of humanity. It's only a matter of time. We have facial recognition on our cell phones, right? You take pictures and it sorts it by John and Sarah and Jane. The same software could be used. You send a drone in the air, it scans for somebody's face and says, oh, that's the guy I'm looking for, and it goes down and blows them up. There was a movie about that too, where it was recognizing individuals. I don't like that. Anyway, last topic for today. Mexico, one port of entry, 1 million fentanyl pills seized in 1 month, according to Border Report. Border officials in Nogales, Arizona, seized nearly 1 million fentanyl pills during various events over a 30-day period ending in September 24th. Smugglers were bringing the potentially deadly blue pills from Mexico into the U.S. stashed in different types of vehicles. And a few other hotspot topics. Congo has an Ebola outbreak. Madagascar demonstrations, we mentioned that. Oh no, that was it. The rest is kind of meetings, and well, if you're not part of the organization, you can't go to those. Folks, pay attention to what's going on. I've said it before. Here in the States, we've had multiple airports get knocked offline in the last, say, 8 to 12 months. You guys, we've talked about that. We just had a refinery in California blow up and catch fire, which you didn't see in mainstream media, is another one in Texas, right by the big oil fields, blew up and caught fire within 24 hours of the first one. Now, it's not uncommon to have refinery accidents. That's not the problem. It's when 2 or 3 happen all at one time in completely different set places in the world. It makes me nervous because too many coincidences suddenly are not coincidences anymore. Airports going offline, airlines going offline. Dallas air traffic control a month ago couldn't speak to the pilots. A few months before that, I believe it was New York or Newark went offline. Denver lost its radar. They hacked New Orleans. They hacked Charlotte, North Carolina. This has been over the last year and a half. Add that to refinery hits, train derailments, drones. To me, maybe it's just accidents, but there seem to be a hell of a lot of them, and they happen in spurts, and then you don't hear about it again. Pay attention, because when you start seeing banks go down, power go down, water gets hit, drone attack, or multiple airports going offline at once, something's about to happen. If you want to defeat a bigger, more powerful enemy, you make him confused, you make him blind, and you make his mobility very difficult. Getting troops and equipment back and forth becomes near impossible. that usually will happen before something else. So just keep your radars on. Again, I'm not being clairvoyant. I don't have secret squirrel source of information. It's just looking at patterns. And that's something engineers do. We look at behavior patterns, equipment patterns, failure patterns to see if we can identify a trend. I'm not saying this is a trend, but it's not giving me the warm and fuzzies. Pay attention what's going on around you. Watch yourself in the street, because people, especially criminals, are absolutely bold, and they apparently don't care if they get shot or zapped or whatever. And keep doing the basics. Food, water, meds. Keep your vehicle, your home, your animals in good shape. Keep yourself mentally and physically in good shape as well, because you will do nobody any good in an emergency if you give yourself a stroke. You guys be good, be safe, God bless, and I will see you on my next video. Take care.